Stop me if you've heard this one. Murf Gray hits a home run. He has 25 on the season now. Hits a grand slam for the Altoona Curve. They jumped out to a huge lead in the first inning. It was a rare Tuesday day game. You don't see many Tuesday day games to kick off the week. But Altoona, behind Murf Gray, Lonnie White Jr. hits a couple home runs. But wanted to start with Murf Gray. He has 2 home runs in 4 games so far. He's gone 3 for 14 with the 2 home runs, 5 RBIs, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts. It's 25 home runs on the season, 75 RBI, 19 doubles. Yeah, great start to the season. You kind of wanted to see how he does in Altoona. College hitter, high draft pick, playing in the lower levels. Maybe you kind of expect him to do well. Maybe not this well. But to see him kind of show that the powers could translate in the upper levels, that's a great sign. Maybe a little more consistency here. Still early, so 3 for 14. He has hits in 3 of the 4 games, so you kind of just take it there. Hasn't struck out his first at bat. He's only struck out 1 other time since then. He has more walks than strikeouts. Big thing with him was, trying to keep the chase under control. And he's done that for the most part, outside the first at bat. First at bat wasn't the greatest start to what you wanted to see. But the grand slam, he fell behind 0-2. Worked his way back, laid off a couple good breaking balls, and then got a pitch and knocked it out of the park. Great start to the season. Now he's in Double-A. You got to feel like there's at least maybe a path there to maybe see Triple-A by the end of the year. Was it Triple-A season goes an extra week past the Double-A season? So maybe we see him just to kind of keep getting some at-bats to get him up. And then he's, regardless, even if he doesn't, you have to figure, what a rise and something that maybe he might be knocking on the major league door next year at this point, even if he doesn't get to AAA by the end of the season. There's still plenty enough time for him to get a good amount of at-bats here in Double-A, and if he keeps kind of showing and making the adjustments and working on the defense here, and he's a top 100 prospect now on Pipeline. I'm sure most places are going to start moving him up more now that he's in the upper levels. You get a better idea of what kind of hitter he can be. It's just a very, very encouraging start. And this 2025 draft class is just shaping up to be a rock solid one. There's another player that we're getting ready to talk about that wasn't even a high draft pick, and he's doing well, all things considering. You got obviously Seth Hernandez. Murf Gray's done well. What else do they have? Eastern Carmichael has done really good. Jack Anchor, he's starting to pitch better. Brent Iredale, Josh Tate. For all things considering, Dylan Palmer leads the system in stolen bases. So, lots of good contributors here. I don't know how many of them are going to be actual major leaguers, but the top of the draft class, the first 3 guys that they drafted that also signed. Obviously, Angel Cervantes didn't sign. They are among the top 10 prospects in the system right now. Top 10 prospects according to our list. You have you have a good case to say that two of them are the top 5 prospects in the system right now. Especially if like the bat carries over in the upper levels. So very, very good start to the pro career here, and kind of shifting to another 2025 draft pick, 16th rounder out of Louisville, Eddie King Jr. Listed at 6'2", 220. It's hitting 268, 410, 439 this year. It's an 849 OPS. He has 11 doubles, a triple, 11 home runs, 45 RBI. He's walking over 16% of the time, striking out just at 21%. I mean, same thing that you can say about Murf Gray, that you could say about Eddie King, maybe even more so, college hitter that's playing in low A. You kind of think that 23 years old, you kind of want him to move up at some point. He's probably a guy that he's going to get a nice little boost from playing in Greensboro. Maybe look to making that a pretty quick stop for him and keep going, depending on how you feel about him. Doesn't swing and miss much. The swing decisions have been absolutely incredible. It's a sub 20% chase rate, which right now on TJ Stats has shown it's in the 98th percentile at low A. Power's probably going to be fringe average. It's probably going to lose a Gray too, because like he also doesn't elevate the ball consistently. Done it more so lately, so that's encouraging. But I mean, first 16th round draft pick to fill out a low A roster, like he's done everything that you can ask for at this point. Complex league season is getting ready to wrap up. They'll play the last game on Thursday, free up some roster spots, maybe to start sliding some guys up. It'd be nice to kind of see Eddie King move up to Greensboro. Like I said, 23, he'll turn 24 in January, so you probably just want to kind of see that Greensboro stop be a quick one. Like I said, depending on how the Pirates feel about him. If they think it's just kind of a depth situation here, then you're probably okay with just kind of letting him go level by level. But like if all of a sudden you start thinking maybe there might be some more here, and I do remember I did talk to a scout while I was down in Bradenton, and he mentioned that and this is funny too, because when you think about this year's draft class, Eddie King had one of the fastest bats that he had been observing while he was down there, and which, like I said, that kind of matches with the Chris Rembert and some of the other Rembert and a couple of the other guys that the Pirates had taken in this recent draft, or Trey Phelps, the kind of guys that they mentioned have some of the quicker bats in the draft. So we're starting to some tells as to what Pirates are looking at. In the month of July, Eddie King's batting .408, .532, .612. He has 4 doubles and 2 home runs. He has more walks than strikeouts, and he has 7 multi-hit games. Definitely putting himself in the mix for potential player of the month. About a week or so left in that. So, Eddie King Jr., 2025 draft class. I'll have to do kind of a little update to the kind of impact that they're having on the system. There's some that, I would definitely say there's some disappointing ones so far, especially a couple of guys that are in the complex. But all in all, a lot of encouraging signs from that class. One more guy I wanted to talk about, the Dominican Summer League. Most years I don't really like to give too much thought and too much thought into the Dominican. Stats aren't really reliable down there. Not that they're in question, but it's just weird. You can't take the counting stats at base value a lot of times. There's a lot more to it, and they can be very misleading. But this year, with the Pirates kind of streaming the home DSL games, I've gotten a chance to get a nice decent little sample size of a lot of guys. It's kind of pointing me in the direction of Carlos Tejera, and we've kind of seen how he's taken off recently. He's on Pipeline's top 30 now. He's Baseball America he was the Robo Scout top prospect, one of the top prospects at the Complex League based on Robo Scout. I had a chance to see like Wilton Guerrero Jr. He's shown some flashes, but somebody that hasn't, like, if you look at the base numbers, or if you look at the counting line, obviously there's a lot there to like. Like I said, you can't always take those at face value. Watching him hit though, Gilbert Ramirez, 17 years old, turns 18 the following year. He went 2-4 with 2 RBIs on Tuesday. He's batting .362, .563, .420. It's a .983 OPS. Only has 4 doubles, so maybe not a lot of power right now. I will say the frame kind of gives me, and the fact that he's a catcher, is kind of gives me some Axial Plaz. Like, obviously he doesn't have the power, it looks like, that Plaz does. Maybe he kind of develops in that. But, it's a little bit of a thicker build once he kind of, turning that build into some grown man muscle kind of thing. Maybe the power starts to show up. But the thing that really stands out with Ramirez this year, I mentioned the on-base percentage is at .563. He is walking 27.8% of the time compared to a strikeout rate of 8.6. He has 29 walks compared to 9 strikeouts, which is insane. And I know walk rates can be a little bit tricky to kind of look at, especially in the lower levels now, because like it feels like almost nobody is throwing strikes anymore. Throwing strikes is turning into a lost art in rookie ball. And like you could look at one of the Dominican teams for the Pirates today. They walked 7 guys in the 9th inning. Michael Castillo came into the game and faced 4 batters, walked all 4 of them, and the Pirates lost on a walk-off walk. So walks are way up all over the place. So, walk rates can kind of be funny, but that kind of wide disparity is definitely something. That's over 3 walks for every strikeout. That's insane. That's going to be something to watch going into next year. Kind of like to see more, especially more defensively. This caught stealing rates under 20%. But just the swing decisions and the plate discipline and that kind of stuff, the high average, young age, definitely someone to kind of monitor going into next year. And kind of those are the 3 kind of players I wanted to highlight today. Go ahead and run through the minor league rundown, and we'll get you guys out of here. Starting in AAA, Indianapolis wins 2-1. Ronnie Simon went 2-for-4 with an RBI stolen base. Dominic Fletcher went 2-for-3 with a run. Sean Ross 1-for-3 with a run and a double. Connor Whitcurth starting to settle in a little bit more in AAA. He's throwing a little bit harder, it kind of seemed, in the first couple games. He went 5 2/3. Gave up 5 hits, an unearned run, a walk, and 4 strikeouts. AA, they win 8-7. Murf Gray, obviously the Grand Slam. Lonnie White Jr. went 2-for-4 with 2 home runs, a walk. Titus Demetriou, 1-for-3 with a home run, 2 walks, and a stolen base. Down in Greensboro, they're in Winston-Salem. They win 6-1. I mean, stop if you've heard this one. Sammy Stafura, another hit. He's gone. I remember a couple years ago, Matt Gorski went on that insane run of hit eight or so home. He hit a bunch of home runs in a span of a week. It was one of the best performances. I feel like we've seen from like a Greensboro player, like just getting out of control hot. And Stefanos is kind of just blew straight through that. He went 3 for 4 with a double, 2 stolen bases, and 2 RBI. Eastern Carmichael, 2 for 5, 2 RBI. Jared Jones went 2 for 4, an RBI, and 2 doubles. Jack Anchor, pretty good night from Jack Anchor. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 walks, 1 earned run, and 6 strikeouts. Carlson Reed pitched the final 2 innings. He's pitching a lot better since they've kind of shifted him to the bullpen. Kind of always forget the bullpen where he was going to end up. Kind of looked like they kind of gave up as him as like a prospect kind of thing and more of a depth guy, having him start in high A again as a starting pitcher. Now he's kicked over to the bullpen. We'll see if that leads to like a move to Altoona. I am curious to see what the fastball velocity is playing at. Obviously Greensboro, the broadcast doesn't list that. So I guess we'll have to wait to see. Maybe he gets promoted. We'll find out for sure. Bradenton. Mitch Jeb, 2 for 4. He's on a rehab assignment. 2 RBIs, a walk, stolen base. Eddie King Jr. We talked about Eddie King Jr. He had he went 3 for 4 with a home run, a walk, 3 runs scored. Braylon Brazabon, he went 2 for 5 with a run and 2 RBIs. Roland Portiondo came in for Reno Navarro, who I think he was better than the final stat line, but Portiondo, he went 3 1/3, 3 hits, a run, 4 strikeouts. Navarro finished his day. He gave up 3 runs on 4 hits, 2 walks, 6 strikeouts, and 2 2/3. Pitch count got up there on him. There's a pop up in the infield that Spencer Horwitz called for, and then it ended up dropping. So that kind of messed with things. Of course, that doesn't count as an error. Horwitz went 1 for 1 with 2 walks, so reached base all 3 times in a rehab appearance. Down in the complex, they actually won on a walk-off hit by Armstrong Mahuzi. My apologies. He went 2 for 5 with an RBI. Carl Caliste, he went 1 for 4 with a double stolen base. And then Michael Darrell Hicks and Chris Davinsky both had rehab outings. They both pitched an inning. Down in Dominican, Dionis Leba, he went 1 for 3 with a grand slam and a walk. But like I said, that DSL team's the one that they lost on a walk-off walk, where the pitching staff walked 7 batters in the final inning. The DSL Gold team, they won 10 to 4. Marlon Quintana went 4 innings pitched, gave up a hit, an unearned run, and 5 strikeouts. That's going to do it for today's episode. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. As always, subscribe. Bucks on Deck Substack. Daily content on the Pittsburgh Pirates, top to bottom. We just passed our 3-year anniversary mark. So thanks everyone. Take a chance to thank everyone again for the support. If you're not a paid member, go ahead and give that a shot. Well, I'll be having a couple usually 2 paid articles a week, sometimes more depending on what's going on. So that's over 100 paid articles, and it's so like a yearly subscription costs $50. That gets you 50 cents. That's like 50 cents per article, less than that, and you get access to scouting reports on the top prospects, video breakdowns, player features, in-depth analysis on all sorts of stuff. Not to like toot my own horn with it, we kind of saw the love that Carlos Tejera has been getting with some of the national outlets. I was among the first people to kind of mention that and kind of say, hey, this guy might be a guy here to kind of watch. And we've kind of seen him just take off. So if you want to know about some of tomorrow's stars before, a lot of other places, come on down to Bucks on Deck. Check out the YouTube channel. Got video uploads. I do all the time. Uploads of, highlights and starts and just everything, long form videos, all that kind of stuff. But thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you guys